Hi everybody, this is lesson 4, writing products as sums and sums as products. How can we write expressions from standard form to distributive form and back again? Distributive form is technically called the product of two factors. That's this. And then standard form is this. Okay, so we're going to practice writing from using the distributive property and then working backwards here. I'm going to do examples A and D with you, then I'm going to have you try B and C. So for A and D, we have 2 parentheses x plus 5. I've showed you to use the arrows like this. You also should write it like this. I want to do 2 times x, and I want to do positive 2 times positive 5. Now I'm going to say positive and negative a lot so that you don't forget the signs in front of the numbers. It doesn't hurt to write the sign, like I don't need to put a positive here and a positive there, but you can, especially here with that 5. Okay, so if I do positive 2 times positive x, it's just positive 2x, and positive 2 times positive 5 is positive 10. That's it. That's all you have to do for letter A. For letter D, very similar, one major difference. We're going to do positive 7 times positive x. So that looks like this. Then we're going to do positive 7 times negative 3. Now I put that positive there so you know that that's 2 different operations. Okay, so we're going to do 7x. Then positive 7 times positive 3 is negative 21. So you can write it like this. You can actually also write it like this. 7x plus negative 21. Those are the same things. Okay, so we've done ones like this. Go ahead and try B and C now on your own, then unpause it and see how you did. Okay, check your work. You're multiplying the 3 to the 2 inside terms, so you should have 3x plus 12. And on C, you should have 6 times x and 6 times 1. And those are all positive. That's why there's a plus sign. So 6x plus 6. How did you do? Okay, anytime that you have a question on one, put like a little question mark or a star or something so that you know to ask about that in class. Okay, for E, F, G, and H, I'm going to this time do the middle 2 ones. I'm going to do F and G with you right now. Okay, so for letter F, well, for all of these, you're looking at what goes into both terms. So for this one, what number goes into both 8x as well as 8? That's pretty easy because it's the same number. So obviously that number goes into both of them. So how we can write it is 8x divided by 8 and positive 8 divided by 8. If I take 8x divided by 8, that leaves me with just x. And if I take 8 divided by 8, that's positive 1. I don't want to leave it as x plus 1, though, because I need the outside factor, which is 8, because that's what I divided both of them by. So this is the product of two factors, or the distributive form for 8x plus 8 for this one right here. Okay, let's go ahead and try the one below it, 3x minus 12. Okay, think about what number goes into both of them. So we're going to put 3x here, minus 12 here. And you should know that 3 goes into both of them. So I'm going to divide these both by 3. When I divide them both by 3, that actually tells me my outside number is 3. Okay, now let's figure out our two inside numbers. 3x divided by 3, well, that leaves me with just x, because 3 divided by 3 is 1. So 1x, but we know that that's just x. Now what's negative 12 divided by 3? Negative 4. So I have 3 parentheses x minus 4. And if I want to check my answer, if I have 3 parentheses x minus 4, I can easily check it by doing what we did above. So just do 3 times x, and then positive 3 times negative 4. And that does give you 3x minus 12. So that's an easy way to check your answer. Okay, you try E and H now. You try E and H. Pause it and then see how you did. Okay, 5 goes into both of them. So 5 is on the outside, and on the inside I'm left with x and a positive 6. Down for letter H, you've got 15x plus 20, and you know that 5 goes into both of those, so 5 is my outside factor, and I'm left with 3x as one of my terms and positive 4 as my other inside term. Okay, hopefully that's not too bad, and like I said, you can always check it and make sure that when you do distribute that 5, you get 15x plus 20, which you do. All right, exercise 1. Go ahead and try these 3 on your own now that you've seen how to do it up above. Okay, so use these examples to help you with these 3 examples. Pause it, and then I'm going to write the final answers in as soon as you have it unpaused. So if you haven't paused it, go ahead and pause it now. Okay, for the first one, you were supposed to divide by 8 because that's the greatest common factor that goes into both of them. For the next one, 11 goes into both of them, so 11 is my outside number. And I'm left with 5a and positive 1, so plus 1. And then the last one, it's actually 36 because 36 goes into 72. So 36 is my outside number, and I'm just left with 1z and a positive 2. Okay, now moving on to page 27. We're going to skip the first one on page 27, and actually the second one too. We just did some like those. So let's go to example 2, and this is the rectangular array from before. They kind of gave us the answers, the 2x, the 12y, and the 8. What we're going to do is we're going to figure out the biggest number that goes into all 3 of those, and we're going to put that here. I'll make that actually a question mark because it's not x. Because x doesn't go in all of them. Okay, so what number goes into all of those? It's 2. 2 is the highest number that goes into all of them. There's not a similar variable with all of them, and I see the number 2 there, so 2 is the greatest number that goes into all of them. So now we're going to divide each term by 2, like 2x divided by 2, which is just x, and that goes here. Then I'm going to do 12y divided by 2, and that leaves me with 6y. Then I'm going to do 8 divided by 2, which is the easiest of all, right? That's just 4. Okay, so now I can see that 2 times x gives me 2x, 2 times 6y gives me 12y, 2 times 4 gives me 8. That means 2 is my outside number. Then I'm actually going to have 3 terms on the inside here. I have positive x, positive 6y, and positive 4. And that's it. Okay, for exercise 2, the answers are all there. I want you to try to write it as the product of 2 factors. So see how we had all these numbers and we came up with this? Take all these numbers and see if you can come up with it down here. Okay, then unpause it once you think you have it. Okay, did you make 2 your outside number? And then your inside terms are positive 12d, positive 4e, and positive 3. Again, if you want to check your answer, you can do 2 times 12d plus 2 times positive 4e plus 2 times positive 3, and it should give you those inside numbers, 24d plus 8e plus 6. And yes, that does match this one. Okay, go ahead and try the last one there. Factor 48j plus 60k plus 24. So what you're going to do here is make your rectangular array, and you see that there's 3 terms, or kind of 3 answers that go inside. So since we don't know what the letters are, it's okay whatever size you make them, because we don't know what J and K are, but we know that this one would be 48J, this one would be 60K, and this one would be 24. What's the biggest number that goes into all of those? I can see that they're all even, so I know that 2 goes into all of them. But if I divide them all by 2, they can actually simplify again. So see what number goes into all of those. Did you say 12? Hopefully you did, because if you know your times facts, 12 goes into their into all of them. A lot of kids say to me like, well, why do I need why do I need to know my facts if I have a calculator? Well, a calculator doesn't tell you that 12 goes into all of those. You need to know, and it's a lot of work on your calculator if you don't know your facts. You would have to be dividing and dividing and dividing a lot to figure that out. So hopefully this is a good example of knowing your math facts to make life a little easier. Okay, so now I want to divide those all by 12. So each of these terms divided by 12. And now I just place those up here. So 4J, sorry, 5K, and 2. And it just looks like this. 4J plus 5K and plus 2, because they were all positive. Okay, so that's how you can factor using an array, and that visual kind of helps you. Okay, on the next page, we're just going to do 2 examples, and then you're going to try 2 on your own. So for exercise 3, we're going to do A and B together, and then I'm going to have you try D and E on your own. Now this one, 2 times 3 plus 5 times 3, you don't have to write 6 plus 15. I know that you might want to solve it, but we're going to try to write it in distributive form. They're kind of giving you a hint and says, all right, well, we know that 3 goes into this term and 3 goes into this term. So 3 is going to be our outside number, and then I'm simply left with 2 plus 5 in the middle. Okay? If you want to, you can solve both of these. You can do 6 plus 15 is 21, and then you can do 3 times 7 is 21, and that proves that they're the same. But what we're really looking for is, how do you write this as the product of 2 factors right here? Okay, so A will help you when you get to D. Okay, for B, I see that I have 2 plus 5 plus 2 plus 5 plus 2 plus 5. So how many times do we have that number repeated? 3 times. So we have this 3 times, and then I have 2 plus 5 inside. And again, you can solve both of these to verify that they're the same. Okay, you go ahead and try D and E now. Now that we're done with A and B, go ahead. Okay, for letter D, did you get 3 on the outside and x plus 5 on the inside? Okay, because the 3 goes into both of those, so I take the 3 out and I'm left with x plus 5. And then for letter E, I see this is added 3 times, so I can write it like this. Okay, and that is a wrap on lesson 4.